before I get into what the government's going to do, I wanted to tell you that solar panels, the non-packaged, the really inexpensive ones, are not very hard to put together. It's been a long time since I've described how to put solar panels together with batteries and a charge controller and an inverter. If you go to my channel and go to playlist, there's tabs at the top, you know, videos and playlist and members. I don't know, a bunch of different tabs up there. You'll click on playlist and you'll see a bunch of different playlists I have. And one of them is solar panels. And you can look at all the videos in which I've said something about solar panels, put them together. Also, I'll put a link at the up next box on the end of the video here. You can click that, it'll take you to that video. I think a lot of YouTubers and experts make solar panels just way too hard. And as long as you don't put the solar panels on your house, it's a very doable solution to a problem that could come up soon. As we all know, I think a lot of people believe that SHTF is on its way. And of course, preppers are always trying to get you to buy the biggest, next best thing because they make money on that. So when they show you a solar suitcase, for example, they're getting something out of it, whether it's a solar suitcase or they're being paid. I get emails like that all the time on these solar suitcases, but I just don't agree with the solar suitcase. I suppose if you went camping for a day or two, they'd be really good. But you can get a much bigger system for about the same price as a solar suitcase. Now, I know a lot of people will raffle a solar suitcase off to their subscribers, and that's great for the person who got it, but the rest of you still have to buy it. So it's not really a solution. The other thing is these solar suitcases really can't power much. You know, they talk about, oh, it's gonna power an air conditioner, it's gonna power a freezer. Well, maybe for 10 seconds. All it is a battery with a solar panel, an inverter, and a charge controller. It's the same thing I got, except I got a lot more. Now, when I bought mine, I think you could buy them for $70 a piece, my solar panels. I got 10 of them, so that was $700. About the same price as a solar suitcase. The price kind of goes up a little bit because then you gotta get batteries. Of course, I use lead acid batteries, and I know everybody's gonna say, oh, don't use lead acid, you need lithium ion. Well, lead acid in my mind is just a lot better, a lot cheaper. I'm not better. I mean, lithium ion is a really good battery, but they only last 10 years, and you have to spend a ton of money on them. With lead acid, I can actually repair mine, and I think I've showed that before. Had a bad battery, and I fixed it. It's like new. I think I got a bad one right now. I overextended it. I drained it too much on a cloudy day. And I'll fix that one on the next cloudy day. I can go in there and clean out the cells. You go get a few batteries, depending on how many you need, and they're about $100 a piece at Walmart. And I have 7 of them, so now we're up to $1,400 for my solar panels. But they're really not a lot to mess with after that. But you can spend $1,400 really easy on a solar suitcase to have anything of substantial use. I mean, you can buy some cheaper, but they can get pretty expensive, and you still have to get the solar panels and all that stuff. I mean, I don't understand it all. Some people say, well, you can get 2 solar suitcases, that'll give you double the power. So now you're up to $2,800, so they're expensive. This is a very easy DIY solution to a serious problem that I think is coming up in our society. Now, as I've said, I think in yesterday's video, Europe is pretty much shutting down its electrical grid. They just can't keep up. So people are buying firewood until there is no more firewood to buy. There are lines of cars in Poland trying to get coal, and there's no coal to get anymore. Energy prices have went up like 1,000% or something insane. I feel like living off grid is the most practical solution to this problem. You know, we keep talking about SHTF, but it's not like just one day somebody's gonna shut off the light switch and all of a sudden we're in SHTF. We're gonna slowly degrade there. Things are gonna just kind of trickle out one little piece at a time. It's hard to say what will trickle out, but most likely I would think electric, since that's what the biggest problem is right now. Oh, it can't happen in the United States. You know, we're pretty solid. But it is happening in the United States, and I will get to that in a minute, I promise. The more the electrical grid is taxed by meaning used, they're not upgrading anymore. They can't afford to upgrade. The government has made these mandates to the electrical companies that they got to switch over to green energy. Well, that means they can't afford to upgrade and switch over. They got to do one or the other. So just like every third world country, they have to shut off the electric every now and then because there isn't enough to give. And Americans, and I'm not criticizing Americans, I mean, we developed this country, made it prosper. We should be able to enjoy the finer things in life, but we're not going to be able to. And the problem I think we're going to have is Americans not only expect to have the finer things in life, they don't know how to live without them. Carolyn and I was talking today that it would have been difficult for Carolyn and me to simply just all of a sudden live off grid. There would have been things that would have been a struggle for me. But over time, we slowly eased into it. We went traveling around the country for a while, and we had to get used to doing things that were less than comfortable or less than modern lifestyle would dictate. And I think that's where a lot of these preppers fail. I just got a commenter today telling me, "You're wrong, I'm a prepper. I'm ready for everything. I can last the rest of my life, me and my wife, with my stockpile of food and my rations that I bought online. It's gonna last me 30 years. I'm not thumping my chest, I'm just telling you facts. I'm a prepper and I sense it." Well, you know, you don't sense it because you never tested it. If you were to test your preps, that means you have to use your preps. You can't afford to use your preps because if you use your preps and something bad happens, you wouldn't have enough preps. So no, you have no idea whether you can make it or not. I, for example, would like to think that I have a pretty good security system. That things aren't going to get by my security system if SHTF were to happen. But I've never tested it. How am I going to test it? Hey, would you come over and see if my trap will get you? Would you come on over and see if I can shoot you from 100 yards? No, of course not. You can't test it. So I can't say that it's going to work. But what I can say is going to work is we can feed our chickens without going to the store because we do it every day. I can say that I don't need electricity off the grid because I do it every day. There's a lot of things that we do every day. We test ourselves every day just because that's the lifestyle. And then you have to test yourself physically, which preppers do not test themselves physically every day. They can't. They're too comfortable. For example, it's easy to sit down at the table right now and have a big 4-course meal. Your belly's full at the end of the day. You've had spaghetti and carbohydrates, big glass of cold milk. Carbohydrates are addictive, so you might have that cake or that snack afterwards. You got that fruit that you like, the candies, all that stuff is addictive. Well, all of a sudden, now you're thrown into eating your canned goods. Now, I say canned goods because we only eat meat. That's all we eat. Now, some people are going to say, I can live off vegetables. Well, it seems very unlikely. If you've never tried it, how much vegetables do you really need? I'm going to grow my garden. Seems unlikely if you've never tested it. Carolyn and I just eat meat. About 80% of our diet's meat. So we know we can live off chicken eggs because we do it. We know that we can survive off chicken eggs even though we don't make quite enough right now. We got a little bit of stockpile of food, you know, our canned goods that we preserve our chicken meat with. Got about 300 jars of those. That'll at least last us 300 days. So if SHTF were to happen, you know, go to the store and all of a sudden meat prices are $100 a pound, we're like, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to incubate some more chicken eggs. We'll get some more chickens and we'll start producing more eggs. And within 6 months, we'll start getting more eggs so we can get off the canned goods, restockpile our canned goods by butchering some chickens in the next incubation cycle. You know, we already do this. We already know the incubator works. We just hatched 15 of them. So we're testing all the time. Things that don't work, we fix. So what I would do is right now is disconnect. Hook up your solar panels. Disconnect. I put out these little polls all the time. The last one I put out, I said, how are you going to get water? And I listed a bunch of them, and one of them was well water. That's interesting to me because most wells are driven by 220 volts. So that means you would have to run it off a pretty hefty generator. Mine runs off 110, so I can run it off the solar panels. Have you actually tried to shut the electric off to your well to see if you can get water out of it? And my bet is most people hasn't even considered how they're going to get water out of their well. You can get a simple pump and all that stuff, I understand. But have you done it? The other day I put a poll up and I said, do you have enough food to last for 6 years? You know, a depression or something were to happen, do you have enough food? 91% said no, they don't have enough food. So the very next day I said, do you have the ability to survive 6 years? SHTF, likely a depression. 61% said, yeah, we can survive. Well, how are you going to survive if you don't have food? The question wasn't like, do you have a stockpile of 6 years of food? The question is, do you have 6 years worth of food? I have 6 years worth of food because I got chickens, and we've already lived off of chickens for a long time, and we know that they're going to continue to produce. We got a good cycle going. We know it. So yeah, we got 6 years worth of food. We got 100 years worth of food if I live to be that old. So there's a disconnect between what they believe and what they know. It's called cognitive dissonance. I talked about this the other day. As you know, I'm sure, California has made a new law that's going to mandate that every Californian who buys a new vehicle, and I think in 2035, has to be an electric vehicle. No more gas engine vehicles. You know, there's other cities or countries or something that are going to require that you pay a tax because electric vehicles cost more than gasoline vehicles. So if you buy a gasoline vehicle, they're going to tax you more money, 25% or something. So now the gas vehicle is going to cost as much as the electric vehicle. So it's going to force you to buy the electric vehicle. Well, the first thing that everybody started questioning is does California actually have the infrastructure to charge that many cars? Well, today we found out our answer. Today being yesterday for you, because I posted my video a day late. California announced that on Labor Day, they're not going to have enough electricity to power the state. So they're telling residents to raise their air conditioners to 78 degrees, shut off unused lights, and don't charge your electric vehicles. So the question is how are they going to make sure there's enough electric in 2035 when they don't have enough electric today without all these extra electric vehicles? So my proposal to you is stop relying on the governments and the companies to take care of you. They are no longer in the business of taking care of you. They don't want to take care of you. They told people on Labor Day, don't drive. So you're planning to go out to a barbecue or something. Nope, not enough electricity. Now we can't buy gasoline engines and we can't buy electric vehicles. The government is telling you to stay home. The only way to do that is to live self-sufficiently. So if you'll click that super thanks button down there, I'd really appreciate it. So if I can inspire you to get self-sufficient, because they don't want you going anywhere, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.